Welcome back to the Brands by Integra podcast. Today we have Hans Plum. Hans is with Newfed Mortgage. Hans, tell us your role at Newfed. You have a senior leadership position nationally with Newfed. Tell us your title and kind of your history and everything you can about Hans Plum.
Yeah. So I think my official title is EVP of National Sales Growth and Strategy. So I work a lot on the growth side of the house, um, obviously the strategic side of it, and and then expanding into new markets, and then just getting the flag of NewFed out there. Um, I've been here just a little over 3 years now. Came from a big national lender before that, where I spent about 8 years. Uh, got my start in mortgage in 2002, I think. Um, then took a little break there. I actually, by luck, dodged the 0708 crisis, and had a career in law enforcement. So did that, but once the mortgage industry gets in your blood, it seems like you can't escape it. So came back into the mortgage industry, owned my own shop, and then again moved to the national brand before that, and I'm thrilled to be at Newfed. It's been a great ride.
So you owned your own mortgage company. What was that like? Were you a broker, a lender? How did you handle business back then?
So I was a broker and correspondent channel. I had broker and correspondent channels, mainly broker. Um, and it was great. I loved it. Like, I love building. I love getting my hands dirty, right? So that's kind of one of the few things that I feel I'm actually good at, is just rolling up the sleeves and getting to work. Really the thing that changed for me was when TRID was implemented. And my role as the owner, I was also producing, a pretty high producer at the time, had a team of about 10. Um, I became a compliance officer, and depending on who you ask, I was either too thrifty or too cheap to take on a compliance person to kind of do the call reports and all that stuff. And the timing was right in the industry for me. The broker model was kind of running its course. And so that's when I was acquired and joined a national company, and built out the Oklahoma region, that kind of part of the country. And again, it was rolling up the sleeves, getting to work, bringing a company, a brand that had never been spoken in Oklahoma before, which presented new challenges. But built a very, very successful team. And we operated well, um, like for about 8 years. And then by chance, I had a previous person I worked for that started over, or worked with, and she was in the operations side, joined Newfed, and called me. She'd probably been here about 6 months and said, "Hey, I think you'd really like this place." Um, and wasn't looking at all. I really hadn't pulled my head out of the sand at all. Um, but I'm glad I listened to her, and went out to Boston, met the leadership there, and came home just energized of, hey, these guys talk growth. They want to do it the right way. But they also know what makes them special, and they don't want to outkick that. And so that was really a deciding factor of coming over here and doing the same thing all over again that I swore I'd never do: bring a brand to market that no one's heard of. You got to be a little stupid or crazy or both to enjoy that kind of challenge. But it's been an awesome, awesome journey thus far. With where we started when I came over here and where we are today.
Hell yeah. We've had tremendous growth just the past year. I would say like even just the past year and a half has been wild. But I think you've been here for about that, right? About a year
Yep.
and a half, 2 years. And
Almost three. Almost three.
oh shoot, okay, almost
Yeah.
three. So I wasn't too involved the first year that you were here. I got much more involved the last two.
Yep.
And I remember, with the leadership team that we had, and then trying to pick out people who could, basically do what you do, and come into the point that I was like, we gotta have this guy running point in our company. And I think that, just what you said, right? So like we talk a lot about that on this podcast. We talk a lot about that in our daily routine, is that rolling up your sleeves. Like, that mentality is the way we operate. And I think that it is infectious. I think that we've attracted people that are like-minded in that sense. I think that we've done the opposite to people that don't appreciate that work ethic. And so it's funny because if you look at who's here now and who's not, I would say that we have that solidarity in the sense that we all kind of roll up our sleeves and do the work. Even with the more recent people that have joined, and I think that you've helped us really continue that and continue that torch, which has been great. And it's been awesome to see you operate and grow in Oklahoma, Ohio. Tell us more about like the markets that you've grown into here at New Fed and what you're seeing.
Yeah, so Texas, we had a producer in Texas when I came on. We've really grown out Texas. San Antonio's been a big focus for us. Oklahoma, we've got a great group in Oklahoma. Just opened another branch in Oklahoma. We've got Colorado, we've got Ohio, Indiana, Kentucky. Those are all new markets since I've been here. And then we've expanded Florida. The Northeast continues to organically grow, which is where our foundation and footprint really has obviously been since inception of New Fed. But it's been, what's been really, really nice is, and as you got involved in mortgage and your, vast success and history in growth, not once have I ever felt, hey, we just need to put people in places. That's the old way that just doesn't work. We find the people and then we expand in that area. We don't do it the other way. We don't just go plant a flag in Ohio and say, okay, now we need to put butts in seats.
We talked about this. We talked about this a couple of weeks ago. Like we don't go to the territory and say this is where we're going to be. We wait for the territory to come to us, and then we evaluate, do we want to be in Ohio? Do we want to be in Pennsylvania? And then we make the decision based on the operators that are going to join us and whether or not we can sustain and grow and build in that marketplace. So I think that that's kind of always been our approach, and I think it's awesome to see it happening now at New Fed, kind of the same way my vision was on the real estate side. So yeah, I don't know where we're at, but I remember when, after post-COVID, after 21, after all the glory years of refis, having to change to a purchase model and then having to overcome the obstacles of new leadership in the company. 22 was somewhere in the bottom, and now just to see how far we've developed it and what you've done with the culture here has been phenomenal. So when you get up in the morning, what's your day look like?
Yeah, so typically I'm an early riser. I'm way more effective early in the day than I am in the evening. Grab a workout, and then I'm on catching up on emails, calls start, time zone. My days start a little earlier with the leadership, the majority of leadership being in the East Coast. But it's getting into the email. It's getting into who am I talking to today? What groups are we, looking at? It's identifying, all right, we've had success here. How can we leverage and build on that? And then from there, the day typically dictates me, to be honest. Like,
yeah, that's kind of how it is.
Yeah, you set the plan.
It's funny since last summer I was in there grinding, and then this summer we brought on Dan Furter on the real estate side, and like I'm calling around, everyone's like, "No, we got this, we got this, we got this." What a team we have, and now you end up looking for that next challenge to create the chaos again, and
Yeah.
that's something that's kind of fun, right? You get up and you're like, "Okay, where am I going today?"
Yeah. Yeah, and it's been I've always been a sales guy, in production, in sales, and uh, you know, the last year marketing's run through me. That's been a really, really fun, challenging area to grow in because I've always viewed marketing from the sales side, not from the compliance and risk and how do we give our people everything we need but do it the right way. So that's something that's, there's always that's what I love about this, our company and really the whole umbrella of Brands by Integra. We're not afraid we're not afraid to fail in the sense of I think failure only happens when you give up, right? You don't learn from, okay, that wasn't a great we tried it, didn't work, now what do we do? And that's in the DNA of this enterprise. We're going to try something, we're going to be as, efficient and smart about it as we can. If we need to tweak it, we're going to tweak it. And so that piece just I really do. It sounds silly, especially in the mortgage industry. I wake up excited about what the day is going to be. I can plan it out. Some of that stuff stays, but then there's always a curveball in this industry, whether it's the real estate side or mortgage side, and that just keeps it interesting.
Right. And you find, like, I find, I can have a quiet day, or, I can be proactive and I could create success throughout the day, and not have a lot of problems, but they all seem to come at 5 o'clock. You know,
Right.
it's like,
Yeah.
well, the phone rings at 5.
Yeah.
So golf people, oh, we're going out after work. Yeah, no. Like
Right.
5 o'clock is like, that's reaping hour for us, I feel.
Yeah.
That's when everybody purges, the problems of the day, if there are any.
Right.
And there's always some. And yeah, so I mean, you kind of always have to be ready. And that's something I've always done, right? So like, I'm usually in the office Monday through Friday, and I try not to. I call it being at the desk. Like I'm always at the desk, Monday through Friday, typically, without vacations and the occasional, sneaking out or whatever. But pretty much at the desk, ready. I answer emails faster than anyone. I answer my phone as soon as it rings. Like I am ready to go. And then, and on the days you don't have big projects or meetings or a lot of stuff going on, it kind of gives you the opportunity to be creative, right? And like, so at the end of the day, I think this business, whether it's mortgage, real estate, title, property management, part of it is a science, but a lot of it is an art. People say to me, well, how do you do that? Well, it's kind of more of an art than a science, in my opinion. And that's when we get to be creative, is when we have that opportunity to like brainstorm and do the things that we're going to do, and come up with those strategies. And that, I do like that part as well, because I feel like we have a lot of creative people here, not just from a marketing perspective, but from a business structure perspective. And I love that, you know?
Yeah. And we've got a lot of problems. So like people that want to get to the solution. And that I think is rare to have as many people, especially in the leadership positions we have here, that are really kind of obsessed with the process, but also obsessed with speed to solution. Because in this industry, time's the killer of all deals. We need answers now. We need to fix this now. And you've got SOPs, like even, back in my law enforcement days on a SWAT team, you have SOPs on how you enter a room, how you take a building down. But you enter that room and there's 3 chairs and a bed on its side that you don't know till you enter the door. Okay, so now what do you do, right? You have to make real-time decisions to overcome that problem while still staying inside your SOPs so your team knows what to expect. Hey, I know Hans is going to do this and Jim is going to do this. So it's really, I mean, we've got such a great team that that doesn't just say that, they really live it every day. And they and
Yeah.
care about not just the consumer. I always tell, as we're recruiting and I tell our team that we have, I say, I don't mean this in a bad way, but the consumer is not my concern. We want a great consumer experience. My concern is our team, because if we serve our team and give our team and look at them as the consumer, we give them a great consumer experience, they are going to do that to the end user, the consumer on the ground, and it works up and down the chain. So
1,000%. I've been saying that for years.
yeah,
The consumer is going to have a great experience as long as the agent is having a great experience on the real estate side. As long as the loan officer is having a great experience, they're able to do their job better when we take away the barriers on the inside, and that's a key component.
yeah.
Yeah, no, that's great stuff, and you get to work every day with Eric. You've saved his life, and you've had all these things with Eric. What's that dynamic? Who does what in the odd couple of?
Yeah, it's funny when I get phone calls, and now that school's out, my 7 and 11-year-old at home. My 11-year-old picks it up the most. He's like, "Is that Eric or Rob calling you?" Because I talk to Eric and Rob Jewett more than I talk to my family, right? Like it's just always. But Eric and I, it's so funny. He said it best about a year ago. He's like, "Who would have thought a German from Oklahoma and a Jew from Boston would become, not just great work friends, but really, really like great friends. Like we've oddly been through several big deals together, whether it's work or personal life. And I don't know that there's a guy that's more loyal. Once you're in Eric's inner circle, he is the most loyal guy I've ever met.
He's
But
the best.
we bounce off each other really well. He's more animated. He's more, kind of that, like you want that almost pit bull on the leash, right? And I'm a little bit more laid back, a little more stoic, but we work so well and we speak the same language. So he runs the day-to-day operations of sales. He's really in the grit, right? Loan level stuff that gets escalated to him, pricing, rate questions, all that kind of stuff. I'll run the other side of it again with, strategies such as it's tossed out there all the time,
Marketing, growth,
growth,
recruiting,
that sort of stuff,
that type of thing.
And there's been growing pains there. And the great thing about that is we trust each other. Obviously he trusts me with his life.
Yes,
but
he saved his life.
Yeah, but we have. I know what Eric's saying. I can probably tell you what he's saying to someone, and saying. But we had to because when I first came on, we kind of split the company in half. We had the West and the East. We were both doing all the things for those divisions, and we really, when you came in, you were like, "Hey, hold on, let's maximize strengths here. Let's have one guy run operations, one guy run the strategy and growth."
Yeah,
and it's working.
He always tells me, "I can't believe you saw that when you came in and you had us split the time like this. This is just so much better," and da da da. And I didn't remember at first. I was like, "I did that," but the way that my style is, when I see it, I say it, and then I move on.
Right.
And I'll turn around. And you guys all move real fast, right? So like when I'll say something and I'll turn around and like it's done, and I'm like, whoa. I was just telling the story the other day. I think it was with Rob, and I was like, hey, we got to do this, this, and this. And I hung up with him, and then I picked up the phone and I talked to someone else. And one of those three things actually was a bad idea, because someone on the next call gave me the idea, like, whoa, no, maybe we shouldn't. I called him back right away because I was like, you didn't do that yet. He's like, no, I was just about to. I'm like, because we all move so fast here. That's the difference. I think that's what really makes us different from any other company out there. We're a good-sized company. We're not huge, We try to run a family, so we'll give up huge for the family culture. We're not going to lose the culture over the production. So, good-sized company, production's good. I always say could be better, right? I always think like we could be doing better.
Right.
But I also know that we're doing pretty well maintaining the culture we have. And like that's more important than numbers. But we all move so fast, and everybody's just so in sync, I feel, at this stage of the game. That whole team at NewFed has just really gelled together and become such a force, you
Right.
know, in the industry. Like we're at the gathering. I was at IMB. I go to a lot of these events now, and NewFed has a seat at the table,
For
and
sure.
you know, it's it's not a throne.
Right.
It's a folding chair, but it's a
Right.
seat at the table, and like we've earned that seat, and I think that it's because we work hard. I think our reputation is excellent
Yep.
because we wouldn't settle for less than that. And so even like in the local markets, I mean, we have realtors from all companies working with NewFed. We are a resource to the real estate community, and we see it all day long. I mean, you've got agents that you work with in Oklahoma that don't work at Century 21 or Coldwell Banker over here at Integra, and we have a great relationship with these people. Even I do,
Right.
So I mean, like this is something that, and it's the same on the real estate side. Some of our real estate people still working with their longtime LO. We have great relationships. We put the relationship before the profits, and I think that we do that. And sometimes we might get taken advantage of a little bit, but I feel like our karma is good because you know, we're fair. And I think that once you stop being fair, and you see it, right? We see it all the time with these big nationals.
Yep.
They're not fair. And
Right.
so people don't want to be part of that. And even the ones that say, "Oh, I'm going to be there," and like we just had an agent. It's going to start last week. Decided to push out until November. Okay, we'll wait till November. Like we're not going to push you. We're not going to rush you. We're not going to ask you a bazillion reasons why. My answer is anything we can do to make that go faster. No, I really need to do this, this, and this. Okay, fine. Call us in November. Put a little note in. We have a team wants to go on their own and open their own office. Is there anything we can do? No. Okay. Come back if it doesn't work out. You
Right.
know, and just be fair. And I think
Right.
that you bring that to the table. I think Eric does. I think that we run a fair. We're fair in the relationships that we have with our clients, our customers, and I think that we just kind of we play by the rules,
Well,
and
and
it's important.
that's it. One of the things I tell people that as they're coming on and reinforce it while they're here is I said, I can promise you two things. We're not perfect. Find me the place that is, and let's all go look and see what that's like. But we're not perfect. But I will promise you the second thing is we'll always do the right thing. And we'll do that to make the imperfect situation right. We'll do the right thing. And I don't know what more I mean, obviously you have to be able to, close loans and support and do all the things in the industry. But those are really two cornerstones of, listen, we don't pretend to be perfect.
Right.
Transition onboarding it's a bumpy thing. No matter how much you plan for, something's going to happen. Right. Um, we have a great process for our customers. It's not always going to go perfect. We're dealing with humans, we're dealing with high emotions because it's a big purchase, and we're dealing with a lot of regulatory
And
oversight.
a tricky industry.
That's it. That's it. So,
Yeah,
those two things, I'm like,
it's a moving target on a daily
always.
basis. So,
But if
but
we're honest and do the right thing, and we own our mistakes, and we always want to get better, I feel like that's a really great foundation to work from.
well, it's great having you here, Hans. Great having you on the podcast. We definitely have to have you back. Every morning I wake up, I thank Gwen Fay to bring you over here, and if it wasn't for that first ripple,
Yep.
things wouldn't have worked out the way they did. So who would have known? Buying a little company in Texas was going to open up the door for all of this growth through our relationships. And it's been a real pleasure working with you, and I look forward to keep working with you and growing and having a lot of fun in the process. So thanks for
Same.
coming on today.
Absolutely. It's been an honor to be a part of NewFed, and I'm so excited about the future and appreciate the time today.
All right, thanks, Hans Plum. We'll see you all next time on the Brands by Integra podcast.